So widespread riots, of course, have continued through the streets of Philadelphia. People know the media is not really covering it. We haven't seen anything
peaceful
on
protest.
CNN at all.
Mostly peaceful.
And these riots are almost as bad, or certainly worse, than some of the previous riots in other cities. They're picking up speed dramatically. Of course, the Democrats know this harms them.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
So let's not cover it. As Don Lemon said, it's hurting us in the polls. And Chris Cuomo said, meatballs. So here's a montage of what you may have missed from the riots.
So these business owners right now are just watching whatever they were able to go ahead and rebuild.
Ooh, that's a great Kenmore.
Quite literally,
I'll get my clothes washed.
It's a whirlpool, bitch.
Oh.
It's going to break down.
Man, I would get so many peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, untouched books.
Stay right here.
That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a deliberate ramming because it keeps going.
Biden Harris. How the f we spent all summer talking about abolish the police, but the first chance we get, we sitting up here talking about voting in the author of the crime bill.
She must have a stutter.
And someone that calls himself a top cop.
Ooh, that was some facts.
I think she was just spouting 90s movie titles. Top Cop, Kindergarten Cop, Cop and a Half,
RoboCop,
RoboCop,
1, 2, and
both 2 and
All of
3,
them.
but not the remake.
Yeah, because they did the fourth one. It's not as good.
All kinds of cop movies.
I did like the factual part there, which is the irony of trying to vote in an old white guy who put the crime bill in that, you know, led to numerous people in
That's
the
what I
black
said. I
community
don't think these
being
rioters,
arrested.
they're not going to vote for Biden. Like,
Yeah.
she
And
just
you
said
know what?
it.
Here's
They're
the thing.
not.
I will, and we've talked about this. Did it disproportionately affect African Americans? Yes.
Yes.
Was the crime bill that Joe Biden, the '94 crime bill, it was supported by the Black Caucus. It was supported by most Black Americans. The reason crack cocaine was treated different from cocaine was because it was leading to violence in Black communities. The crack epidemic led to violence, and so they thought, let's try and pull the root out, which was crack. Now that ended up also translating to non-violent drug offenders, not just crack, but other drugs in the Black community being disproportionately affected. However, I don't think that Joe Biden pushing the crime bill was a racist. But by the standard that you see from the left, it is probably the single most significant piece of legislation with negative consequences in the area that Black Americans themselves are complaining. That, I hope I've made my position clear here. And by the way, speaking of Sleepy Joe, rapey Jim Crow, Biden himself, he kind of condemned the riots, but again, this is something Pennsylvania, we're hoping that you guys come through. Unless you want no jobs and your city's ablaze, then Biden's your man.
Some of it is just senseless burning and looting and violence that can't be tolerated and won't.
It's all
senseless. Much of it
burning
is a cry for justice. Much of it. From a community that's long had a knee of injustice on their neck. The names of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake.
All right, that's enough. Here's the thing. There are no peaceful protesters out in Philadelphia. You could say that at one point because incidentally some peaceful protesters showed up in Kenosha where they were like, hey, what's going on? You're burning down a carload? Oh, mind my business, right? There were a handful. But not in Philadelphia. It started immediately as riots, and it started immediately as riots, looting and burning, based on a false premise. Do we have the, I think we have the numbers here of, I know, what is it, 2 dead?
2 dead.
2 dead, 11 people shot, including a
Wow,
15-year-old. 53 officers have been injured. So this started right away as riots.
Yeah.
And Bernie tweeted, too, following that Biden comment. This is Bernie's tweet. Walter Wallace should be alive today, and our thoughts are with his loved ones. The police responsible for murdering him in front of his mother, instead of getting him the medical attention he should be arrested, investigated, and prosecuted by the Justice Department. Here's the thing. He's claiming that the police are murderers.
Yes.
The police are murderers, is what Bernie Sanders just said. Again, we're talking about this tweet needs to be removed. Because if we're going to say, well, someone's saying that actually, you know what? Masks, your home masks, single-layer masks, according to the CDC, if not washed, don't prove to be all that effective. Find me the study that says otherwise. If that gets removed on YouTube and Facebook because it goes against CDC guidelines, even though it doesn't, this goes against the legal definition of murder. It's a federal law. That he hasn't surprised it again, another lengthy rap sheet. So Wallace punched his mother in the face, threatened to shoot her, also did the same thing to the mother of his child. He's already punched cops, resisted arrest, and went to prison for robbing a woman at gunpoint. So the narrative they said, right, is this is what they're saying. They said, well, we were calling because he had a knife, but he didn't have to shoot him. He was going to drop the knife. He always does. Well, it's your word against the blood on his knife. I don't know. I want to go home to my wife. That mom's coming. Oh, she's got a pack of frozen peas because he just beat the shit out of her. He punched his mom. He punched his baby mama. He robbed a woman at gunpoint, and now he's charging at cops with a knife. Again, this wasn't a pullover. This was a call to the cops. They showed up to an address. Do you not think that they look at the rap sheet and go, oh, hold on a second. This guy robbed a woman at gunpoint, has repeatedly assaulted police officers and resisted arrest. Maybe we need to take some precautions. Hey, what do we do? What's the game plan? Well, let's go in and, let's not shoot him. Okay, well, that's fair. But what if he, I don't know, let's say tries to punch you? Well, let's try and subdue him. Let me throw a wrinkle in there. What if Wallace runs at us with a knife? Well, we won't even have our guns trained on him, and we'll repeatedly ask him to drop the knife. Okay, but let me take it a step further. Hypothetical, I'm sure this would never actually happen. What if he refused to drop the knife and continued charging you? You know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And they did. I'm saying, if I am a criminal who's punched several mothers, who's just gone out and probably had baby-throwing competitions and robbed a woman at gunpoint, and they send in a social worker, I'm not going to kill that social worker. I'm like, free money. All right, okay, now I want a helicopter, and I want some White Castle. And the social worker's like, give him what he wants. Right? You think that social
Nobody wants White Castle.
You think the social worker's going to be like, take the shot! Take the shot! Now, the head of the Philadelphia... Well, first off, let me tell you this. Police were ordered not to arrest looters and rioters, right? This is where they said no calls for disturbance, missing person, stolen vehicle, burglary, or theft will be answered. That's almost like all
missing person
questions to be answered. That's like Verizon saying, thank you for calling customer service. No questions regarding your service, availability, billing, phone, upgrade, or general well-being will be answered on this call. Press 3 for Spanish. I cut you. Why do they always say it?
Every time. Every single.
Now, why would that be? You go, hold on a second. Why would that be? And Reg, our wonderful researcher, right, was going, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't pass the sniff test, the Biden test. And the head of Philadelphia's police department was, until relatively recently, the head of Portland's police department. And by the way, it gets her name, Danielle Outlaw. Danielle Outlaw. And what she does is she outlaws the law.
Law enforcement.
It's like, oh, Danielle, so you're like an outlaw? No, I am in the law. How are you in the law? Because there is no law, but I actually do obey the previous law, which is like outlaw and law. So I am really, when you think about it, I'm the ultimate outlaw. Are you crazy? I do a little crack,
Tell them that it's a burglary. We're not here to kill you. We're just going to rob you. Tell them that.
So they don't want a response here where someone is running around with a knife, as we saw. If only Michael Myers were black, that would have made his... would have been fly as hell.